Right, we've got some breaking news for you. Let's cross to our chief football correspondent, Alex Crook, right now for the very latest on Yoane Wissa's future.
Good morning, guys. I have a big transfer update for you. It surrounds the future of Yoane Wissa. Newcastle keen to take the Brentford striker to St James's Park, but I'm told Brentford continue to make it difficult for Wissa to get that move. Of course, he did down tools earlier this summer and refused to train with his teammates. Wasn't involved in Brentford's defeat against Forest yesterday. We thought once they completed the signing of Dongo Ouattara in a club record £42.5 million deal from Bournemouth, that may soften Brentford's resolve, but I'm told the hierarchy there see him as a Brian Mbeumo replacement. So what does that mean for Wissa? Well, basically, they're going to have to sign an extra forward in order to facilitate a move, or it will take a big money offer from Newcastle, I'm told in excess of £60 million to persuade them to do a deal. On Wissa's part, he still expects the move to happen. Talks between the two clubs will resume this week, but maybe his departure not as straightforward as it first looked.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah, I'd be surprised if Newcastle went to pay £60 million for him, good player that he is. But where does that leave Brentford if they've left with a player that doesn't want to be there? I mean, it's very much Alexander Isak Mark II.
Well, it is. Exactly as you know, and you and I are probably in agreement. There's a certain way of doing things and going about things, and I don't think Isak has done it the right way. But down in tools is certainly something that I am so against. It's unbelievable. But the fact of the matter is, you've got to look at managers and coaches, and they don't want players in their dressing room that's going to cause unrest and are not happy and want away. And it's all very well saying, well, I'll just throw them in the reserves, do this, do that, do the next thing. I've got to have a lot of sympathy here for Keith Andrews. There's no doubt about that. Because if Brentford lose him, and it looks like they are going to lose him, then they're going to be... We saw at the weekend how short they are. They've already lost arguably one of their best players, if not their best player, to Manchester United. So yeah, I think it's going to be really tough times ahead for Keith Andrews and Brentford, because I think they will lose him. Because if I'm Eddie Howe, flip side of the coin, it's the same situation. I'm going to sell Isak. I'm going to get as much as I possibly can for him, because I don't effectively want him around the dressing room and having that influence. So he's going to try and get Wissa. Where does it leave Keith Andrews? He now realises he's probably going to lose him, but he wants to get somebody in, and time's running out. So it's a kind of snowball effect. But in terms of player, I think a few of the players have let themselves down in the way they've handled things in terms of wanting away from their clubs, Jeff.
It's hard not to feel for Keith Andrews, isn't it?
Yes.
He's one game in to his managerial career and people are already asking questions. I'm sure the Brentford hierarchy are not going to take a blind bit of notice. But at what stage would he become under pressure, do you think, Ali? How many games before a brand new manager is under pressure?
Oh, dear me. Whether I think it's right or wrong, Jeff, well, I don't think it's right, but probably half a dozen, mate. It's just so important, particularly at that level, for clubs like Brentford to maintain their top flight status. It's just so important, because if they drop down, we've seen what can happen to big clubs when they drop down into that Champions, how difficult it might be. So the pressure on owners to pull the trigger is probably as high as it's ever been. And I don't know, mate. I'm thinking half a dozen games. I don't think it's fair, but I think that's where we are just with football at the moment.
Because Brentford have been so successful in recent seasons,
they've been brilliant.
With Thomas Frank, we don't really know what their attitude would be to failure if that happens.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting into a very, very difficult situation there, Keith Andrews, because straight away, it's a big pair of shoes he's walking into. Because the job Thomas Frank did at Brentford was absolutely nothing short of remarkable, right? So that's tough in itself. And then you start off by losing your key players. So you're right behind the 8 ball straight away, Jeff. I mean, it's a difficult job he's got.
It isn't. In recent seasons, their home form's been, the atmosphere down. Looking at their home games, listen to the home games that he starts with. Villa at home next, then Chelsea at home, Manchester United at home, Manchester City at home, Liverpool at home, Newcastle at home. For goodness sake, That is so difficult. But look, best of luck to Keith Andrews. One game in, for goodness sake. Nobody can be making judgments on him yet.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.